Hey, and welcome back to another edition of Men and John Mega Podcast live stream reactions to AEW and NXT. Somebody's celebrating a special day today.
Oh, are we now?
Somebody's turning 30, and
Yeah.
it's not me.
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm getting a little bit old now.
You old fart. So,
So
anyways,
yes.
out of the way. There's some interesting stuff this week on both shows.
Right.
I think both shows delivered
Hmm.
in some form or fashion. So yeah. Before we get into the shows this week, John, you said you had some little news tidbits on Double or
Yeah.
Nothing.
So yeah, I found some stuff here that were pretty interesting that I felt that we should probably discuss before we get into the actual reviews of both NXT and AEW Dynamite for this week. One of which was were being the preliminary um AEW double or nothing pay per view buy rates, which by the way, take this with an absolute grain of salt. This was posted on Reddit, I believe, a few days ago. And I think it was done through Wrestling Inc. But supposedly, they did AEW did very well. Supposedly in the range of of 98,000 to 113 pay-per-view buys, which is pretty much just in line with how many buys that they did for the previous double or nothing that was held in at the MGM Grand. Matt, just I'm hearing that. Were you would you be surprised by those
I
there?
I don't know. To me, that seems low.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. I don't know what to compare that to,
Well,
but it just seems low to me.
the original double or nothing. I think did 102,000 pay-per-view buys, so it would be pretty much right in line there. Again, take this with a grain of salt until actually Meltzer or someone else a little more credible confirms this. But I mean, like, that's pretty decent. Like, dealing with the pandemic and everything. I would be if if I was Tony Khan or Cody. I would feel pretty good about that. You know. Um. And also some other news. Matt, have you been paying attention with AEW and the amount of times that they were mentioning um HBO's new streaming service?
I mean, I don't hear it. I saw it.
Yeah, it was like they. I mean, like, it was plastered pretty much everywhere. Um, from on the corner um apron or on the turnbuckles and whatever. But I wonder if they're going to be having some sort of streaming deal with this. I mean,
I
I
I I I think it's maybe just a sponsorship at this point.
mhm.
Um, because it is probably well. Wait a minute. Is HBO the same family as Turner? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah,
Because yeah,
I believe so.
so it's probably free advertising for them.
Hmm.
So it's not even a sponsorship; it's free advertising.
Yeah.
So may I mean you they could technically do something,
Mm-hmm.
possibly, because they are in the same family. So yeah, um, it's. I mean, would that entice people to pay $11.99? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
To see, I don't know. So
I also wonder too,
I mean,
potentially, if they might at some point use this for their pay-per-view model instead of doing with a traditional pay-per-view. I mean,
right?
but they are still affiliated with Bleacher Reports still too. So
They would probably have to wait to until that if there's a
mm-hmm.
deal that goes up, but that can basically be their own WWE network.
Mm-hmm. Right,
So
which which I think would make a lot more fans a lot more happy about that pay per view price outside of paying what a what
50
50,
bucks, yeah, that's
which
you're saving $40. So I mean, it makes sense.
yeah, for sure.
Everybody wants everybody's trying to get me to get buy HBO. Damn it!
Yeah,
and
yeah. I saw your post on, I think it was on Facebook
it was on
today.
the Facebook, yes,
Like
because
yeah,
I watched a video on YouTube of somebody going through it,
yeah.
and they have a crap ton of movies.
Mhm.
I mean, not everything's there, but there's stuff there that I mean, if you like to watch movies, I think it's a good bet. I mean, there's if you like anime, there's stuff there. There's Adult Swim stuff. I mean, everything is pretty much just not everything's there, so it's not a lot per se for everything, but
Mhm.
it's tempting there. But we're getting we're getting a bit off topic,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I wonder if, I mean, between that or they might eventually have a AEW Dark possibly on that show on there
I
as well.
mean, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
YouTube's not bad because it's
No,
free.
I mean,
Um,
I mean, I would still keep it on there because I mean, I mean, with that show, it's not really enticing, at least for me to actually watch it.
you know,
I would
I
just
still would want. It's to me that's not worth the subscription.
no. Yep.
But if you have the pay per views
Mm-hmm.
or specials or something on there, then I think it's
For
more
countdown shows
enticing
too. Yeah, with the
for
countdown shows too, they could always
stuff. I mean, you can do the WWE model, and you can do like the kickoff show
mm-hmm.
um, on YouTube and free platforms, as well as the
And
streaming
like
service, and then
mhm,
$11.99 you subscribe,
yeah.
you watch it. I think that can work down the line. I think that's good. Except instead
Mm-hmm.
of paying $50 per um, pay per view.
Yeah.
Same thing with really not the same thing, but almost like us watching UFC pay per views. We
Mm-hmm.
used to go to casino. We're not paying 65 whatever the crap for a pay per view.
Yeah.
Instead, we're just paying for food
Yeah.
and drinks that we buy and consume when we're there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's considerably cheaper than you
Right.
know $65 that somebody has to spend. So um, everything's going streaming.
Yep.
Um, so
You just wonder at some point, if people are going to be stream fatigued just with how many
yeah, it just seems like with
services are out there.
like everything is like lately it's just been just more streaming things. You have HBO just came out.
It's very crowded.
NBC has their own thing that
Peacock,
we
yeah.
have for free because of yeah, there's something there. Disney Plus is relatively new, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like you sit there and I'll say this and then we can move on because
Yeah.
we could talk more about this maybe on our podcast.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, I want to watch this show. I want to watch X. Okay, what freaking service do I have where I can find X? Like, you almost have to Google the show or whatever just to see where it is, and then if you don't have the streaming service, it's like, oh, what? Well, you can't watch it. I don't know. It's just, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I completely understand. Some other news too, Matt. And this concerns Gallows and Anderson, who apparently said, I believe it was on Tuesday, that supposedly they are going to be offered AEW contracts. They and they said this on their Talking Shop podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really care if those guys are there or not, and especially with the with the with the revolt just debuting there tonight. What are your thoughts on the Good Brothers possibly?
I mean, I wouldn't not hate them for going there. I mean, it would help that tag division tremendously. So I mean, yay. I mean, I would. I mean, I would like them for their to be there. I'm not gonna say no. I mean, at least I get to watch them, because if they go anywhere else, I'm not watching.
Right.
But so that's me. I would like to see it, but I'm not gonna lose sleep.
Yeah.
With anything, I'm not gonna lose sleep.
No. I honestly think that they are better suited over in Japan. But to with Anderson more specifically, he's got like what, 4 kids.
And
I'm
a
sure,
hot
like,
Asian wife.
yeah, with his hot Asian wife, it's just I'm not sure if he really wants to go international, and whereas with AEW, it's in much more a like a much more manageable schedule on top of that. And if they're making pretty good money from that, I think that they would definitely go. It'll be interesting to see here. But they're still under their no compete. So I'm guessing what. So they got. So they're
July-ish.
okay.
I
So
think because I read somewhere somebody talking about. I think somebody was talking about Rusev. They were because he was commenting on Double or Nothing, and the article was, obviously elaborating on when he's done, and I think it's middle of July. I
that
want to
makes sense
say,
because
yeah,
because
July 19th somehow rings a bell to me, but
because they were cut in May or right at the beginning of May. So yeah, that makes sense. So we'll see where that goes. Also too, Matt, and this was announced last night. Diana Perazzo signs, or I'm not sure if she signed an exclusive deal, but she is going to be appearing on Impact Wrestling. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty disappointed with that. I really want her on.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, just look at the state of the of AEW's women's division right now. So I was a little bit disappointed, but like, who knows? This could be just like a like short term thing where she just wants to get her feet wet and back into things. But yeah, I was very displeased that she has not signed with AEW, because by God, and we've talked about this, they need some women wrestlers in that company now, some really good ones,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess we'll just move on. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and just two things in regards with NXT. One, and obviously we could probably say this until we actually talk about NXT, and I think it's pretty clear now with Riddle, he's probably heading to either Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you feel about that?
um, I, I don't know.
Yeah.
One, I'm torn.
Hmm.
One on one side, I I think it's good for him in terms
Hmm.
of he has that charisma. I think he can be a star if
Right.
if if, if done right.
Hmm.
I mean, he's funny when he needs to be funny. He's good in the ring.
Hmm.
Um, he just has that good character. I don't see how he can't get over. Just they do the
Hmm.
exact same, basically the exact same thing they did in NXT. On
Yeah.
the other hand, um, I think I wish he had a little bit more time down there.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of missed the him and Pete Dunne.
Right.
Um, but I, I guess what's that say about him that Vince looks at him and he goes, "I want him."
Hmm.
So that's a I guess a good uh what's the word uh endorsement, if you will.
Yeah.
So eventually, at least back in the day when it wasn't NXT wasn't technically a third brand,
Right.
um, it would it was inevitable. But
Hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. And if this was his last match,
Hmm.
or correction, last fight, and we'll
Hmm.
get into that, I think he went out on a high note
Right.
with the performance. But yeah, we'll get into his match once we get to it. Once we cover NXT.
Right. And to um, I think this also says too just about how not really serious that either Vince or Triple H are about actually competing against Dynamite every single week. Because I think if they were truly serious, I don't think that you would move someone like this off of your show here.
I
I'm not sure if you agree with me on that,
I
but that's
think it's a double edged sword here.
mm-hmm,
Maybe.
mm-hmm,
One, I see your point, but two, Riddle can help um, with the viewership
SmackDown.
with SmackDown and Raw to get
Yeah.
eyes there. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm,
I I don't think Riddle is going to be like is the thing that like stops everybody from watching NXT and going to AEW. I I
oh no,
I don't think
not at
it is.
all.
I I I don't think it's that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm,
Um uh because it's I don't know, it's tough because I think Riddle, regardless of what happens or why the reason, it's not going to swing one way or the other.
no.
And it's not like it's not like AEW is like killing NXT. I mean, it's
Not
relatively
yet.
close.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, there was some bit of a quote unquote gap lately,
Mhm.
but I
I think that is slowly shrinking into like
were the gaps were shrinking.
uh,
What,
as
what,
far as an overall talent that we're talking about. I mean, like because if you recall from say back in October when they were just starting out, like there was a huge talent discrepancy between NXT and like Dynamite, where NXT was clearly was clearly better from just a strictly talent perspective, but as of now, I think that is starting to shrink, especially with especially Shayna gone, and Riddle leaving to so into AEW are slowly picking up more and more people now. So I think we're starting to see that shifting.
I can't say I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I I still think maybe NXT has that edge, and the big edge is the women's division by
By far,
far.
by far.
That puts it over the top.
But
Um,
I think everywhere else, though, I think you can make at least a good argument that AEW from their tag team division, from their main event and with their mid card. I think you can at least make arguments about that. But
I
mhm,
I'll give AEW the tag team.
mhm.
I'm
Uh,
gonna get
especially now with the revolt
yes. Um,
now.
I mean, mm, I'll give AEW tag team.
Mhm.
I'll give NXT mid card, and I we would have to debate about the
Mhm.
upper that I have to think about it. But right now, I
Maybe maybe for maybe before a like a future podcast, but like
yeah
we don't want to
yeah.
dwell on this too
Uh,
often.
and
And
but it's still relevant to what's going on.
mhm. But the last thing that I wanted to discuss too, and I'm not sure if you saw this yesterday, but everyone was making a huge deal about Adam Cole's contracts, about Adam Cole's contract situation because supposedly a picture appeared online of him at some bar with a bunch of EW wrestlers with Tony Schiavone and like Jim Ross and Tony Khan, and supposedly Adam Cole's contract is up, I think, in September or something like that. And I, I mean, let me speak a little bit more before we talk. So,
Was
of
Britt
course,
Baker in the picture?
yeah, or like she was summer, but yeah. So everyone was just automatically thinking, oh, he's already thinking about potentially leaving. Whereas I'm not saying that he's not leaving, but I think everyone is really jumping. It's still a long ways away here still.
I mean,
Whereas I do think that it could happen, but I think we're all getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. What do you?
yes. I mean, they did have and before I continue, of getting the internet connections unstable thing. So if we kind of drop a little bit, I apologize. But we had a little dip there. So if anything
Yeah,
happens,
yeah, I saw
uh,
that.
I apologize. But yeah, damn home Wi-Fi. Um, yeah, I didn't see that picture. I would assume he was there because Britt was there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
they took a picture,
right.
and he probably did that just I'm going to assume he did that to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
people on the internet were going to go crazy.
Yeah, no.
They did technically do this like negotiation thing on
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
NXT today, so I don't know if that played into that. Possibly, they never
mm-hmm.
said anything today about contracts,
No,
but just
I definitely
negotiating.
think.
But
Yeah.
maybe that played something into it. If
Mm-hmm.
not, if it did, if it was on purpose, then kudos to Adam Cole,
Let me
because
ask you this: if he does leave, is it a big deal at all
Yes.
for him leaving NXT.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yes.
to me, if you
That's
lose
news.
him, if you lose him, especially if he goes over to Dynamite, like I mean, especially if you are, I mean, USA, you got to be saying, "Hey guys, what are we doing here?"
It
Like,
if yeah, I don't think he goes, but if he does, that's huge news. Um, yeah, I I I, I don't think he will. I
mhm,
I, I yeah I it's, unless something else happens until I see it, I'm just assuming this was just a picture,
mhm,
just for the reaction,
mhm.
just because he can, and we're playing. He's playing as like a fiddle. So
Yep, I definitely agree with it. So with that, we're now are going to be getting into the some shows here, which I think for this week map we're going to start with the Dynamite since we've been starting the last few weeks with it.
fair.
And all right, overall, Dynamite I felt was a pretty fun show. Definitely some things we're definitely are going to be getting into as far with the logic gaps here. But we kick off the show with a video recap from the pay per view, which leads into which leads with the inner circle appearing outside, trying to and they were showing off t-shirts of them winning with the stadium stampede, which as we know they did not win. So basically this is like when the Super Bowl loser has like all of these boxes of t-shirts in which with the inner circle, that's what they had. And supposedly Ortiz and Santana got. They said, oh, we got a sweet deal, and there's probably up like 15 boxes of inner circle winning the stadium stampede shirts there. So that was pretty funny. And you could just see how just annoyed that that Chris Jericho was about that. So I thought that was pretty funny. But then we get to a backstage promo with the Bucks and like a broken mat, hyping up with their 6-man tag match against Private Party and Joey Janela, where basically Nick and like Matt are basically asking Matt to basically changes him, and like essentially he went from broken Matt to like Team Extreme Matt to basically his first character when he first signed with the WWF. So basically he's coming out essentially as what the Bucks are currently now. So so then he says let's all be spotting monkeys tonight here guys. So then we get to with the 6-man tag team match between these guys. This and with private party who I'm going to talk about specifically here, Matt. They were definitely better here. It wasn't as like awkward as we saw from the pay per view, where they were just with their timing was just off, and they were just moving so slow with their double team moves. It was definitely better here, but they still need a lot of work. I think if there's anyone who could really benefit from a like a full time road schedule, it's definitely these guys because they need all of the experience. They need all of the reps that they can get. So with that this this one about 8 minutes here with obviously with the Bucks and like I'm at winning here and and at one point during the match Nick Jackson super kicks Butcher and played. They were back this week for the first time
They have a
in what
gimmick change.
2 months here. So
I didn't recognize who the hell they were.
right. So they were pretty pissed after the match, and they attack Matt and like Nick Jackson after the match, and then we see a pickup truck pull up backstage, and like who was it, Matt? The former Revival, and now they're being known as
FTR.
FTR now. So yeah, they come down and they act like that they're going to take out Matt and like Nick Jackson and beat up on them, but they turn their back and they attack Butcher and the Blade and help with the Bucks. And and the two teams have a little stare down. So I think we know, Matt, what we're probably getting at All Out in September. I mean, like this match here is this has been something that fans have been dying for a very long time now. Just off of this, how excited are you about FTR being in AEW?
I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave I'll leave it at that for now
Yeah,
because I want to see what they do with them.
I was kind of surprised to see them help out
They they
the
did
Bucks.
tease a little,
Tension there.
yeah, and
Mhm.
apparently you can, if you have a truck, you can drive it into the into the arena. Apparently, 2 weeks in a
Stone
row,
Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
or
But
or 2 out of 3 weeks.
uh,
No, it's not Stone Cold. Stone Cold doesn't drive 5 feet.
yeah, that's right.
Well, it was
But
10 feet. It was it was more than Cody.
this was nowhere near as ridiculous as Cody. So
Right.
uh,
No, this was better.
yeah, like they actually
That was my first thing I thought when I saw him. I was like, oh, this is better.
yeah, like they didn't look like that. They were just like in the freaking parking lot driving
It,
like what
right.
6 feet. They
It wasn't like, it wasn't rev up and then go.
right.
You stop. No.
Mhm. Right. So yeah, yeah, that I'm very interested to see how all of that goes and what the storyline is actually going to be for these two teams, because I think it's pretty clear where they're going to be going for all out here. Then we get into a match between Brian Cage versus Poorly Johnson with with the AEW World Champion um, John Moxley on commentary. This was pretty short, probably not even 60 seconds here. Cage he wins pretty easily, and then we get a small promo from from Taz, basically hyping up and putting over Moxley, um, and he just hypes up just just how big and how powerful that Brian Cage is, and I took one quote away from this map. Um, Beat him if you can, survive if he lets you. I love that line there from Taz. So um, I'm I'm loving Taz as Brian Cage's manager. I think he fits him perfectly. And with Brian Cage, he's not at his best when he's talking. So and supposedly they have like booked this match for Firefest, which has yet to be announced. I'm going to assume that's going to be for a future Dynamite episode. So yeah, any thoughts on that there, Matt?
Uh, no, because I didn't really hear the segment, so I don't want to.
Mhm.
I have really nothing to say,
Okay.
but besides that, I like Taz with him. But
Yeah. Then we get a promo from Britt Baker, which is this was basically her updating her her health status and when she will return. And she was given out roles of being a a role model. She was saying things like do not hurt her, and that she is really close friends with the TNT execs, and that they're very displeased about her being hurt. She points at uh, at, at pretty much every person who matters in the AEW women's division here. She talks about Chris Statlander, about about being a like a alien is a crock of shit.
thank you.
um, um Hikaru Shida, conspirator, she called her a conspirator, and she's mad at her from when she broke her nose a few months ago. Nyla Rose, essentially calling her reckless, and like how she landed on her leg, which caused a broken tibia.
What about
Um,
Nia Jax?
right.
Oh,
um,
I'm sorry, wrong show.
yeah. And I laughed. What she was getting annoyed with Tony Schiavone, so she was like him hitting him with the at the point there, and eventually when everything and she presents a like a crime scene board that you would see on like on, on like TV crime shows and
Yes.
stuff. And basically she circles the ultimate culprit with all of this is Aubrey Edwards, because apparently she was in every single match that of basically everything that unfortunate happened to her. She was right there. So and just based off of this, people were already saying, "Oh, are they building to her versus Aubrey?" I'm like, no. Like they're really going to book her against a freaking referee at all out. Okay, whatever. But
No, at Fighter Fest.
yeah, okay. And she ends the promo by saying that she will return at all out. So now we can throw on Fighter Fest out of the equation too. So as far as that's concerned, I'm loving Baker and these rules here. I hope that AEW continues doing with these small skits with her. She's absolutely killing it as a heel. I'm pretty much saying the same things over and over with her every week. So, um, any thoughts on that, Matt? Before we move
Nope.
on?
Anything that has promos and talking, I can't hear because I'm not
Okay,
paying attention.
all
But
right.
but from what I can tell, she is good with
Mhm.
that stuff.
Yep. Then we get a small inner circle promo where Chris Jericho calls Alex, where Chris Jericho calls Alex Marvez a or basically or says, oh shut your ass, you fathead," and hyping up his pep rally, and then in the background, Orange Cassidy just like awkwardly walks behind them, and basically Chris Jericho tells Santana and Ortiz to basically take him out. So then we move on to Christy James versus Hikaru Shida, which I have a major issue with this match here. So, and this has been a habit of AEW. So this girl, Christy James, who has not appeared on any Dynamite, didn't have her entrance shown, no past whatsoever on the show. And for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, Hikaru Shida is selling for her, and it had to overcome the odds to win this match. The AEW Women's Champion doing all of this. How does this make any sense? Kenny Omega, what are you doing? That was the first thing that popped into
I don't know
my
what
head.
they're doing.
Like,
And she has this like dancing gimmick
I'm a
or whatever the hell.
Horsey James did, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, this this is stupid. This makes zero sense.
Nope.
And on
Not
top of
watching.
it, yeah, it just like it just uh, annoys your fans. Like, it would be different if she was actually facing someone who has a past with the company, or if it was an up and coming contender. But this woman was essentially an extra and an enhancement talent, and so this made zero sense. Hikaru Shida finally wins. This was just very unnecessary. Then we had a video recap of the TNT Championship match, which then leads to a promo by Cody with Tony Schiavone, which essentially the promo that Cody cut him out was essentially John Cena with his U.S. title open challenge match, which is basically what Cody is going to be doing. With the title, he's going to be defending his title essentially every single week, with basically whoever wants to actually face him, he will take them on every week. Um, the first half of this promo though, just it did not it didn't really fit with me, Matt. And I'll tell you what, he compares himself to Tom Brady, as far as with Tom Brady being a like a 6 round draft pick, and Cody talks about how he was in AEW's first round pick. I'm like,
What?
he was
He made the damn company.
yeah. I'm like, dude. I mean, like, if like Darby Allin was saying something, I could
Yeah.
it, but Cody. So that
Not,
just
but still.
that just didn't make a ton of sense to me.
I don't like the Brady comparison.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I mean Brady's
Um,
won championships.
right. So then he also talks about his family, and that how like Dustin Rhodes inherited their inherited Dusty's genes as far as the athleticism and everything else. And then talks about his mom and like her toughness, and saying in the circles around to he's going to outwork anyone who he faces, and that's when he says that he's going to have every single week and an open challenge for the TNT championship. And that's pretty much was the promo there. And as we all knew, there was going to be a battle royal at the end of the night, where the actual winner of that will face Cody next week on Dynamite. So
That's it. I don't know. That almost made no sense to me.
mhm,
In terms of and it's like he had this in basically an open invitational, right?
yeah, which by the way essentially takes place after next week, because
So you do that, and then they're gonna have a battle royal, anyways.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
I don't know. Watching it, I was like, that makes no sense. But anyways,
So then we have something else that makes 0 cents. Kip Sabian versus Jimmy Havoc versus SCU for a number one contenders match for the tag titles. And like you would say, Matt, oh, didn't we just have that a double
Yes.
or nothing, right? But it was explained for the match show that 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 the winner of this would have a tag title shot for next week, whereas on double or nothing, that title shot will be taking place at like a Fire Fest. So they at least explained that. That being said,
Yeah, that is.
that being said,
Like,
why
why?
why are Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc and SCU getting a tag title shot? SCU hasn't even had a tag match since February. So, and neither of these teams are in the top five
This is
ranking.
why the freaking rankings mean nothing.
So
Nothing.
this makes 0 cents. I do not care about this match at all.
You make a number one contender match. Just
Mhm.
you declare number one contenders just 3 days ago, and then not replace them, but just like
No, just basically
basically
add in.
that's
Just
nice.
add in. Yeah, just
But
basically add.
here's another, like, why?
So basically, Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc win. Who cares? These guys are not beating Kenny and the Hangman next week.
I don't think the
Um,
best. Uh, like, no, they're not beating them next week. They shouldn't beat them next week.
no,
I
and
don't
like,
even know if the best. Oh, god damn!
like it's just
If the best friends win. Oh,
like
Jesus Christ!
it just yeah, like who cares? And that's
Like
essentially
to me, this tag division is top heavy,
Mhm.
and once you get past a certain point, it drops off. In my opinion, with and if you compare, I don't want to compare it to NXT, but we'll just stick with it.
It's nowhere. It's not even comparable. I think it's completely unfair actually.
Right, but
Mhm.
it's just like it's top heavy, and then it's like there's no consistency with that tag
But
division.
at the
There's
same time,
stuff there. It's just you get
well,
stuff like this.
doesn't help too that they didn't have access for the longest time with a lot of those tag teams too. So,
Fair,
I
but
mean, like a Pentagon and like a Phoenix are to me a top five tag team here, and they don't have access with that tag team since the Pentagon is still stuck in like Mexico. So, but so yeah, we got that. Then we move on to an MJF promo hyping up for the Battle Royal, and I can already tell, man, they're already teasing a split between MJF
they
and
did.
I'm like, I think this is way too soon. Although I think it's going to be a great story. This is going to get both guys really over because to me, both guys are studs already, obviously. But I think this should have been something that they put off at least until the fall, even starting it. But I think it was pretty clear, Matt, that we're definitely heading that we're definitely heading there.
Yes.
E- Even though I'm not crazy about it happening right now.
Yeah, it's too. It felt like they just put them together.
Right.
It's
Well, yeah, like they were just put together like
it's too
back in
soon.
November,
Yeah,
I believe.
if you
Yeah.
want to build it to all out,
Oh yeah.
sure,
That is probably that's probably
but I
what's
think you
happening.
could have waited at
Right.
not
I,
not not now.
yeah, I think it's just way too soon for that. Which then leads us to the Battle Royal. I'll be perfectly honest. This I just did not care about this thing. Just a bunch of undercard guys.
There was
And
only a handful of people that had a shot.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
I
and
mean, to be fair, the same thing happens with WWE. If you have
mhm.
mid-card battle royals, but freaking Marco freaking stunt eliminating what's his face from SCU. Um,
Frankie Kazarian,
yes, I was like,
or no, or
yes,
no,
no,
Chris
yeah,
Daniels.
Daniels. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did. To quote myself. Um,
But at the same time, too, it's Christopher Daniels. He's like,
at the same time, he's getting not monkey flipped, whatever from somebody half his size. It's not
that's true.
believable.
It's not, but it's like I'm not going to really outrage over that because it's Christopher Daniels. Like it's
Yeah,
just
but still, it's
if
just
if it was
a
someone who
very.
was if it was someone who was actually relevant, I would be I would
I still not a good choice. But and then you come down to Jungle Boy
and Andrew Boy Orange Cassidy.
in just for sake of more hate, the bane of my existence. That's too strong. Orange Cassidy, and I sat there and I thought they're not gonna make him win this, are they?
No, no,
I had this thought,
I
and
was
if
pretty.
they did, I was like, I know it's gonna be Jungle Boy, but if they do Orange Cassidy, this table that this computer's on was gonna flip.
Yeah,
I just don't like him. I don't like him being in the final. In the final two, I wish it was somebody else, but Jungle Boy
but
won, and I'm happy.
well, because too, they were the obviously the two main takeaways from this, and MGF and Michael Wardlow, they're starting their thing,
Yes,
and like Jungle Boy, which to me
yes,
he's consistently is getting better and better now, and I think it's pretty clear
agree.
they they have plans for him, and that's been really evident. He had a really good performance against MJF at Double or Nothing. Some say that was probably a best match from there, depending on like
Yes,
who you talk to. So
I'm tending to agree to that.
so yeah, so Jungle Boy wins. He will face Cody next week, which I cannot wait
Should
for
be
that
good.
match.
Should be good.
That's going to be very good. Then we get a stadium stampede video recap. Just basically everything that happened from that show. Then we get the inner circle pep rally. This was interesting, and I'm telling you, I freaking marked out when Henry Cejudo, Rashad Evans, and Vitor Belfort
Okay,
showed up.
can I? Okay, I when I kind of was seeing this, I didn't recognize who those were, so I was
Yeah,
like, oh. After I read it, I was like, okay, who the
yeah,
hell was the guy with like the that looked like a freaking raccoon that looked like he was
yeah.
drunk?
I want to say he was one of those guys' coaches there. Had to have been.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure
I
though.
if I would be shocked that they would be fired if I hired him because he just looked like a
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what the
I'm
hell
pretty.
that guy was doing.
Yeah,
I saw
that
it, I
was
was like, why is this guy walking with Tyson?
right.
It was just like
But
it was distracting.
but the main thing that I took away from this man, I think Miss. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they are billing to freaking Tyson versus Jericho
Um,
by how this ended here.
I that's the logical conclusion.
Like,
I I
I mean, like, I don't think if this was a like actual one off, they would have just had like done something
yeah
tonight then. But
I this didn't register with me a lot. Like you would think it would. Me personally, I I don't know what they were talking about during this pep rally. For whatever reason, they're having a pep rally.
Basically, they
Why are they
were
having a pep rally? Because they lost.
um,
They lost.
basically to basically cheer themselves up from the elite
Uh,
beating them up really really badly.
I hot take. I think the inner circle is doing too much comedy, in my opinion. A little is fine, but I think it's like every week it's just
Well,
comedy, 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 and then
so are we going to ignore how many of those weeks when they were really serious and
I,
beating up
I,
the
I'm not ignoring that. I'm not ignoring it. I didn't say I'm ignoring
doing
that. I'm just saying it just seems lately they're doing way too much, and it's I a little bit's fine. It just for that group, I think it's too much, in my opinion.
yeah, like I don't. I
It's
think
like
you're
every week with them.
so we're factions such as like DX and
There's
Evolution and
yeah,
like
but it wasn't.
NWO. They were doing a ton of
Yeah,
comedies.
but they weren't doing this.
Uh,
It's
you should rewatch some old
no.
DX
Yeah,
and,
but that was their gimmick. This no.
yeah,
It was
I
this
think
was
you're reading way too much into them.
no,
But
because it's no. It's just serious. And then somehow Mike Tyson is stealing freaking champagne, and that's what's getting no. This is definitely not Austin and Tyson. This didn't have the
well,
same feel.
obviously it's freaking 2020, man.
Yeah, but it just wasn't as big as I think it should have been for me. I just I don't know. I it didn't hit for me.
Well, I think it's pretty clear though that with Tony Khan, he was definitely spending some money though
Yes,
because I don't know how this does and end in some sort of a pay-per-view match, which this is going to give the company a lot of buzz.
I'm just afraid for how that match is gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's. I don't think that it's going to be long. I hoping it's in with an actual crowd at that point because I believe well it's September 5th, so we're like what 4 months away. Yeah, 4 months or like 3 months away there still. So we'll see where that goes. And basically Dynamite ends with a brawl, and that's all she wrote for AEW this week. So then we'll move on to NXT now, Matt.
Yeah, I'll save this tweet for later. Okay, we open up the show with the Group A final that was made last week. The triple threat between Drake Maverick, Kushida, and Jake Atlas, with the winner facing Phantasma next week for the interim Cruiserweight Championship. I thought this was an awesome match. I would highly recommend going back and watching this in full. Thought this was very good. To finish the match, Kushida and Jake Atlas were on the top rope. Kushida, they fell into the armbar, similar to I think last week. Yeah, no, with Kushida did before. I like that spot. As Kushida has the armbar on Atlas, Maverick, who is down in the ring, crawls and covers Atlas, and the ref counts the 1, 2, 3, and Maverick gets the win. He did it, Kane. Maverick wins. I popped for this. Uh, Goes on to face Phantasma next week. It was explained it was the camera shot. They did this thing, which I liked, and they ended it here. That right before the 3 count happened, Atlas started to tap, and they explain, thank God, that even though that happened, the ref's decision is final. So it is what it was. You seen how many times before they do this uh, type of finish, and they go on and something else happens. With this, it is what it is. Ref's decision's final. Um, I like Kushida made sure he had his shoulder up when he had the thing in, so it wasn't like a double count or any confusion. So I like this. This was a great match. The Drake Maverick story lives on. Uh, Next, we got Johnny Gargano coming to the ring, cutting a promo, saying what he's been doing is not trying to hurt NXT, but to bring it up uh, higher. And he announced the Johnny Gargano Invitational to face younger, unknown talent to showcase them. And his first opponent was Adrian Alanis, and pretty much squashed him with a submission. Uh, so I'm interested to see where this goes. Um, we have invitationals on both shows now. Um, with Cody with
Uh-huh.
his TNT and Gargano with his invitational with up and coming stars. Uh, then right after the match, we had while they're still in the ring, video of Mia Yim and Keith Lee doing a little parody of uh, Candace and Johnny's videos from their kitchen. Um, I like this. This was pretty good. They were making fun of the lights and the graphic changes, um, and all that. This was pretty good. Then after that, we had a backstage interview with Drake Maverick, in which he said he felt bad about the finish and how he won. Says they can do something about it, but then Kushida comes up to him, congratulates him, and then as Kushida walks away, Drake stops him and says, if he when he does win the championship, that Kushida will be his first challenger, and they shake hands. Uh, after a commercial break, we get a Imperium promo with Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner, just saying they've taken over the tag team division, and they pretty much talk about Lorcan and Birch, saying they're disgraces to their countries, and Imperium sets the rules in NXT, and yeah, so a quick promo with them. Then we have a women's match: Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez. Um, this is all right match in my opinion. Um, for those two, at one point in the match, Dakota Kai, if you know, Shotzi comes out with the that little tank. Excuse me. Uh, so to mock Shotzi, Dakota gets in the tank and like tries to drive up the ramp, while Raquel has Shotzi in a submission, and she's like ripping the stuff off the tank, and then Tegan Knox comes out and kind of pushes her off the tank, and for being like a foot tall, I swear how Dakota fell off this tank, she sold the crap out of it. Like holy crap! Like it looked worse than it should have been. Um, so they continue the fight. Um, One part near the end of the match, Shotzi. Uh,
I saw that one spot of hers where she like landed essentially right on her upper back from
Like
the
this
coffins out there.
from the springboard off the ropes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's that. Yeah, that's where I was. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah, that looked.
It was basically a coffin drop there, in
Yeah,
which
she coffin. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
yeah.
Basically that. And as I believe as Tegan is helping, I think it was this spot. Uh, yeah, I think. Well, Shotzi gets back in the ring, and as Tegan's outside, Candice LeRae comes down, and the reason for that, what I didn't mention before, is Tegan Knox appeared in that parody video
Mm-hmm.
with Mia Yim and Keith Lee as like the pizza delivery girl, um, because Mia Yim basically said takeout was Candice LeRae's specialty, um, and she came in pretty much saying she ate a whole pizza and she left one for Keith Lee and walked out. So that's leading to something. So there's a confrontation there, and as uh, uh, Candice is walking up the ramp, Tegan's distracted by her, and Shotzi's doing a move. Dakota stops at something on the top rope, knocks her down, and Gonzalez, I believe, hits a like a choke slam or a slam or some sort words, and gets the win there. Um, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but anything better than AEW's women matches, especially tonight.
We're
Um,
setting the bar really low there.
it's hey, there has to be a bar for something. So after that, making sure we're still okay. We get, I believe, yes, we get Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai versus Charlotte and a mystery partner who happened to be Chelsea Green, uh, accompanied by somebody who does not know how to measure his pants. Uh, and his short pants bother me for some reason. Anywho, thought this was okay. Robert Stone. That's I keep always forgetting his name. Robert Stone. I Chelsea Green. She's gonna warm up to me. I don't know.
Honestly, I haven't been
She,
really impressed with her in NXT for what they
and
presented so far.
well, I haven't seen really much of her outside, so
Yeah,
I'm having my view. I mean, there's stuff there, but I don't know. But
I'll just say this: she was a lot better on Impact and everywhere else.
yeah.
Like
Uh,
she's being grossly unused, in my opinion, right now.
but at least they put her with Charlotte here. I think that's a good, at least something.
Mhm.
Uh, so at one point during the match, Rhea's on the outs on the apron, uh, and Charlotte went after Rhea, moved out of the way as Io came and hit Rhea off the apron, and that was the finish. I didn't write the finish. Let me look here. Bobby Doo. Uh, and then okay, and then I have it right here. And then right after that, Flair gets the roll up on Shirai with the feet on the rope, cheating to win like the Flairs do, for the win there. So that builds more tension between Io and Rhea for their triple threat match at In Your House.
And Charlotte continues her thing in appearing on every show
She's
imaginable.
going to be on a. It was just announced. I just saw here that she's going to be on AEW next week.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
makes sense.
and then uh,
She's
in
gonna be all
Impact the week after. She's gonna be
205
she's gonna be
lives.
205. She's gonna be on the show Glow. Um,
It's like
yes,
I was
yes.
like, I'm like Jesus Christ, people like, can we just like give her a day off so that we can like not have her appear on every single show imaginable.
Yes. I'm just like,
God damn it.
Charlotte's taking over the world. Um,
God help us
it's
all.
Charlotte's world, and we're living in it. Um, I can see why, because she's good, but I mean it's too much. Uh,
Wait. Yeah.
uh, so we have a backstage after this. We have a backstage interview with Gargano and Candice. Um, they take offense to the one interviewer comment on the parody. Uh, they're mad. Johnny said they're only power couple in NXT, and that he's going to take the North American title from Lee at Takeover. Candice says she's not going to wait until then, and she wants Mia Yim next week, and then Tegan Knox should be ashamed of herself, and then they walk off there. So that match, right before we continue, that match is confirmed for next week, as well as, like I said, Maverick versus Phantasma for the interim cruiserweight championship. Then we have the Adam Cole William Regal negotiations over, just for lack of a better term, Zoom, because again, Regal can't be there.
Mm-hmm.
He wants basically he doesn't want Velveteen Dream to fight him for the championship anymore. He wants him out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
He wants the Undisputed Era to have a fair shot at the tag team titles because last time wasn't fair. Regal says pretty much that Dream is still going to have that title shot at In Your House. Cole says why all the charity for Dream calls him an extreme narcissist. He always has a spotlight on him. Keeps wanting everything about him. Regal agrees that Dream is hungry for attention and it has an ego, but says Cole does too.
Mm-hmm.
And that frustrates Cole. Says that's insulting to be compared to Dream. Says he's the cornerstone of NXT. And that the Undisputed Era has made Regal look good over the past couple years. Regal had this funny thing. He says, he asked Cole if he knows how negotiations worked, and he warns that for him to stop acting like a baby.
Hmm. Wow.
And that was funny.
Jesus.
And Cole mocks him. He does it in this British voice, so it's even funnier. And Cole takes shot of him being a man's man.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. Little back and forth there between the two. So Cole says that after he beats Velveteen Dream at In Your House, he wants Regal to say the Dream can never get a shot at the title as long as Cole has the title.
Mm-hmm.
And Regal agrees to that. He confirms the match for In Your House. And he also adds that he'll find a suitable location for Dream in Cole. So
are we going cinematic here?
Maybe. Because they tease, because Regal said find a place that like both spotlights can be on you. So I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna assume cinematic now. So that should be interesting. And then Cole ends the video call before Regal does.
Well, because essentially that's what Triple H said to both Ciampa and Gargano.
I would assume.
Yeah,
it sounded awfully familiar.
I'll say this though, Matt. Like, maybe it's me, but I'm just not feeling Dream right now. I feel like his momentum is just completely just stopped. That pretty much ever since he came back, that it just really hasn't worked. maybe you can speak onto that, but like I just don't feel that he should probably be the one to take the title off
I think I think he's one of the people that not having a crowd is not helping. Um, it I think there was a little bit loss of momentum
Uh-huh.
because he was before he got injured. Um, I I still kind of like what he's doing. It's not to the level or weirdness. I know it's different from what he did before. Maybe they changed it, they tweaked it. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he wins. Um, it can go either way for me, but I'm still entertained by it. But I'll have to agree it's not the same before he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can agree to that. Um, but I'm still intrigued a bit. Um, plus they still have him in the what's his face? I can't. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. Oh, creepy, scary guy. Loomis there. So I feel like that's going to come into play at in your house. Then we had Leon Ruff, who got destroyed by Karrion Kross in his debut match, versus Tommaso Ciampa. Um,
I'm guessing he also got destroyed by his partner.
yes, he did. But as Ciampa got to the ring, we had Scarlett stand at the bottom
Well,
at
I
the.
saw pictures.
She looks like
Evil, evil.
evil, but like a very very young Glenn Close. And if you put the right stuff, she can be in 101 Dalmatians.
Mm-hmm.
That like that's for some reason that came to my head, but like she has that. It's the stare. She just basically stood there and
Mm-hmm.
stared at Champa the whole time, and oh, it was.
I can tell you right now, like when like Lana and like Rusev were on their high high pedestal, like of just Scarlett really plays
I
her really
yeah,
well.
I am almost like it. I think I like it already
Mm-hmm.
than Lana because she doesn't have to say anything, and she just has that. She
She has
has
so
the
much
facials
charisma. She
that,
has so much charisma too. It's just
and she
yeah,
has the facials. It's the little things. I mean, she has the look, at like
clearly.
well besides that look, but that look. So so obviously Champa wins, and as Scarlett goes back to the up the ramp, we get a video on the big screen. It's Cross, and it's kind of just like zoomed in just on his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Cross congratulates Champa for the win. He addresses Champa's comments from last week about being special, and says it'd be special. It's going to be special at Takeover, and on June 7th at Takeover, he's going to make Ciampa feel something like he's never felt in his life. TikTok, and Cross disappears, and Scarlett. The whole video, Scarlett is standing at the top, looking at the video, and then when the video ends, she like just turns back or over the shoulder and just gives that like smirk. Oh, it was so good. Oh my god, she plays it so damn well. Um, then after that, we get to the main event, the most interesting thing, the cage fight. Not a cage match, cage fight with Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher with Kurt Angle as a special guest ref. And this whole setup, oh, this was unique. Basically, a steel cage around the ring. There's no ropes. Um, and then they have this little like catwalk or platform all the
Mm-hmm.
way around.
Yeah.
And
So
so they get in the ring. They both start on the top, and when the bell rings, they like jumped out and they just start brawling. Like this is, and another thing I liked. They kind of took this as like MMA.
mm-hmm.
When they came to the ring, um, the ref was there checking the hands. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what they're checking on the hands, but checking everything, and they had the stats like the height, the weight, and the reach.
Right.
So they had that. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool, unique for this match. So they get in, they're just literally just beating the crap out of each other. At one point, um, uh, Riddle did jumped on the cage like almost like a springboard kick and hit Thatcher, and they did the spot where his mouth was bleeding and he picked up two teeth and like gave him
I was
gave him
getting.
gave
I
him
was. I was kidding him. Anthony Smith vibes here when that
he
happened.
gave him the angle and like um I was thinking, oh, maybe they're not going to show him. No, they show teeth. They're obviously probably fake, but they did that, and they actually had like a doctor come down and check up on him, like you would
Mm-hmm.
do like
Yeah,
in a
in a fight.
actual fight, see if he can continue.
Mm-hmm.
And refs, doctor's like, he can continue. Ask Thatcher, can he continue? He's like, yeah. So they fight. This was, I mean, I thought very good. Uh, Eventually, they do get up on the platform. Um, they got up. I think Riddle was going to like power bomb or slam uh, Thatcher into the cage because he had him up on the power bomb, but Thatcher caught on to the top and like pulled himself up. So they're fighting up there, taking some bumps. At one point, Thatcher falls down on the mat, and Riddle does the I forget what he. I don't know if it's he has a specific name for it. Um, uh, let me see here. Oh, the floating bro, I believe they called like little spinny thing off the top of that. So that was pretty cool. Um, but eventually at the end, Thatcher gets a rear naked choke in, and Riddle fades. Angle does the arm thing. He does it 3 times, actually, making sure that was never saw that in a while, and it calls for the bell for the TKO win. So this was you, and
And
then
Riddle is probably on his way over to
Raw
probably
SmackDown.
SmackDown. I'm going to assume here. So
Yeah, I don't know what show, but I thought this was pretty good. Like, I already want to see another one of these
mhm,
matches
mhm.
because this was unique. Um, I, I, then again, I think this was only could work in a pre-recorded because I don't want to know how long that took to set that up. Um,
And probably
because it can't.
took some
It's not
took some power.
one of those things that can just. Oh man, I don't know. They can find a way that can just come down from the rafters. Because obviously Kurt Angle posted a picture about it.
Yeah.
So obviously this was taped, so it
Mhm.
works. It works, but I thought it was pretty good. I had kept most of my attention for most of the main event segments between
Mhm.
both
Mhm.
because inner circle was just going on and on about whatever because I couldn't hear doing
Yeah.
all the comedy stuff. So I think, and then obviously Tyson comes out and it's like, oh crap, now you're gonna watch both. So that was
Mhm.
a good main events for both shows respectively. If you were watching,
Pretty strong shows, I would say.
yes.
All in all.
At one point, both AEW and NXT were trending 1 and 2 respectively. Um,
And I believe at one point that Dynamite had like 7 of the top 30 7 of the top
I
30
I
trends. I think someone said.
something like
Um,
that. They had a couple in there.
but
But
like there was a lot of wrestling trending, so I'm hoping that's going to mean
I
good
think viewership's going to be
with the
up.
numbers tomorrow when they come out.
I think they're going to be up. Um, yeah, I think for both shows are going to be up. Yeah, I don't know how much, but
Yeah.
I think NXT gets back to in the 600s. Um,
Mhm.
I I I try to predict this every week, and I don't know why, because it's stupid. Because I don't. It's pointless at this point. But
Mhm.
I think it's a bet. It should be a safe bet. NXT gets back in the 600s, and
Mhm.
AEW's in the 600s to 700s.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they'll probably get around 760 ish. I think they'll probably get a small bump it was since it was with their first show after.
I I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking just because of Tyson. Um,
Yeah, he
and
was also advertised as well, so
yeah,
probably.
with that, and NXT gets a bump with Angle being there in that cage fight. Um, so yeah, I think a pretty interesting week for both shows.
Mhm.
Um,
I would agree.
not perfect, but what is
That's true. Well, man, we have been on here long enough
going on
tonight.
90 minutes. Yes.
We would like to thank you guys for
Um,
tuning in.
and if real quick, because I didn't mention it before, Spooker Skills 0P saying NXT one chat NXT matches were pretty good. So I want to shout out for that chat before we go off.
All right, okay. Well, as you guys know, we will be dropping our weekly podcast this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking. Actually, I
In the
haven't
same
really.
room.
Yep, in the same room, hopefully. so we're not exactly sure what the topics are going to be at this week. We haven't really discussed that, but
There's always something.
yeah, yeah. But tune into that. As I said, we those will be dropping on Saturday. As always, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you guys follow our Twitter page. We are going to be a lot more active on that page. Now we'll be tweeting during the either Dynamite or NXT pay-per-views, UFCs, whatever. We're just gonna try
Yes.
and get that
I
and get some more traction there.
try to get one of the tweet Raw, but I started Raw late, so it was pointless at that point. Going to try for SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then probably next week, probably maybe tweet alongside of you, with
For
AEW and Dynamite.
yeah, and to we have and takeovers a week from Sunday, right? Yep.
You are correct, sir.
Yep, and we'll also be doing that as well. So you guys. On that note, we thank you for tuning in, and we shall see you this weekend. Take it easy.